After almost 8 years since Ken Levine led the development of a game, we finally get a glimpse of his new studio's debut title called Judas, a first-person narrative-driven single-player game that looks rather familiar to bioshock fans. In this video, we are going to go through the trailer and see what discoveries, theories, and speculations we encounter along the way. Let's go. According to the game's official website, Judas is about an escape from a decaying ship, but at the same time, it is also about working with enemies to fix something that was broken, or leave it to burn as repeated in the trailer. At first, I had some doubts if this woman was the protagonist, even if she is the model in the title. But after seeing the graphics of a hammer, which is reflected in the first shot of her holding the same kind of object, I'm now convinced that she is indeed the lead of this story. This first shot is a bit disorienting, but after examining it, turns out this is a point of view from somebody outside in space looking into the ship, and not a mirror reflection of the hero. There are a couple of clues that point to this observation. First, the unidentified character clearly has a hand implant. According to a later shot, it's visible both on top and palm side of the hand, which the protagonist doesn't have here yet. Second, she is being lit by orange light coming from the fires in her immediate surroundings. If this was a reflection, that same source would be visible on this other hand. Instead, it is being illuminated by blue light coming from this planet's horizon. Based on this same image, it's also very clear that the hero's implant is found on her left hand. So whoever this person is has their device on the other, and there's only one individual in the entire trailer who that could be. This woman who had a violent encounter with the protagonist. She is armed with what looks to be a 3D printed weapon, very dissimilar to what the hero would be wielding, which looks like something out of a metal fabrication shop. Come to think of it, the details behind this cape is not clear yet. All we know is that there was a botched attempt. For some reason, the protagonist got left behind, and the ones that tried to escape, possibly through dropships, got offed when their carrier is hit by asteroids. Even the space rocks itself is a bit of a puzzle. Are they natural of origin that is orbiting the planet, or was it caused by an incident? Maybe a bomb that created this bright light, which flung giant boulders into space, which might explain why they seem to originate from there and have molten veins that could only be caused by some high-temperature energy. Regardless of the details surrounding this event, it looks like the protagonist is gonna be forced to utilize the starship she's on, along with one of the 3 companions presented in the trailer. The first one is a sheriff by the name of Rosenberg, as seen on his badge. From what I can tell, his ability will allow us to control his deputies, those bipedal horses armed with a shotgun. In one of the images shared on Ghost Story Games' Twitter account, we can see one of them hitting a switch, possibly to open a cell door. Next up is this synthetic who looks like a Las Vegas performer. Her ability is being able to provide weapons, ammo, and other things. I hope I'm wrong about this, but the whole egg-shaped thing sure looks like a loot box to me. Oh man, I hope that's not the case. And third is an unnamed synthetic who can control turrets. Just basing this on her clothing and her hair, I assume she has a very colorful personality. In this shot, we can see her take down one of the aforementioned deputies. This somewhat confirms that we will only be able to choose one of the 3 in a single playthrough, which is great news for replayability. I also have reason to believe that these 3 do not exist in the physical domain, but are instead projections of some kind. The first clue was the non-reaction of the sheriff in this shot, while our character was under attack. Also, if we slow down the footage, we can actually see the projections of the other 2 synthetics render as they assist our character. At the heart of this trailer lies the question: why did these bunch of people decided to fight their way out of the starship? The answer could lie in the music used on the presentation called Leave Her Johnny. According to available information, the song is a sea shanty sang by sailors to voice out their complaints about their voyage without getting into trouble, usually performed during the last day of their work when the ship is already docked, after which they get paid and leave the vessel behind. So, taking that into consideration, we can theorize that whoever is in charge of the spacecraft, to use an organizational term, is not running a happy ship. First off, there's a social credit system in place. And all over the ship, we got a bunch of posters telling people that they should be content with what they're given, and being in a romantic relationship is toxic. That would make any freedom loving individual miserable, which is actually one of the words highlighted in a poster. I assume it's telling people on board to not have that mindset and instead follow the rules and eat the cookie, which I think is the centerpiece of this whole thing. My theory, based on available information right now, leads me to assume that this cookie eating ritual is related to this, which is basically the same subject matter with a similar pink color motif, except the couple has been turned into synthetics. If that's the case, then they're basically giving up their ability to procreate and instead would focus their lives on the so called mission seen in the previous poster. What is the mission? Protect an enigma called Baby C. Regardless if they're part of the maintenance crew or the so called pilgrims, this is what they tried to escape from, so much so that they were willing to risk their lives to get out. Of course, I could be wrong, but like I said earlier, this is just based on what is known about Judas so far, and I will definitely update you as new details about the game emerge. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.